I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I think that there's been quite a critical shift in the media in the last maybe 7 or 8 years, that we don't see investigative journalism in a way that we saw it before. And so if a company comes out or the government comes out with a line or a policy or whatever, effectively the media just reblog that. They don't they don't interrogate it or put it under any sort of scrutiny. No. They just say a government spokesman said.
Yep.
Whatever.
And they report it, and they're not allowed to take sides or have opinions. It's report it as it's said, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there was what's now become quite an infamous case over here, that the state broadcaster had on this guy, and this guy said that, you know, global warming and environmental change isn't happening. And he was just allowed to say that. And there was no sort of, you know, well, what are your qualifications, or, you know, where have you got this information from? And so, oh, right. Oh, okay, then, you know, environmental change is a myth. And and this was on the state broadcaster, and he was just allowed to get away with that because there was no interrogation. You know, he wasn't held up to any sort of scrutiny at all. And there were a lot of complaints about it. And now they're saying, well, you know, next time round they won't do it in quite the same way and what have you. But still, you know, a lot of people have now heard that, you know, global warming isn't a thing because this guy says so. And they're like, oh, all right then, because it's on the state broadcaster, it must be true. And, you know, you don't get that rigorous journalism in the way that it did in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and anybody who does try to do it they'll be kept off the main news sources. Yeah. And like I mentioned Abby Martin earlier, she could not get a job in regular network news, so she went to Russia Today.
Oh, right.
And she was on Russia Today, and then everyone's like, oh, well, she's just a tool for Russian propaganda.
Yeah.
So she ended up speaking out against Russia while she was on there, and that caused issues for her. So she decided to leave, and she went to, I think, Telemundo.
Really?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so she's got a news show on YouTube, and YouTube is really where you have to go if you want to see real journalism now. It's crazy.
I mean, I go to YouTube a lot, mainly for the comedy kind of stuff, but I'm always wary because everything on YouTube is presented as equal. So you can have a tripped out hippie telling you whatever conspiracy theory you like alongside a genuine news channel, but they're presented equally.
Yeah. Well, they get, it's because it's all based on the listener. So whoever the listener decides to give their attention and their time to, and it's, you know, YouTube provides the same platform for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just who's getting the draws, who is getting the support, and it's up to the listener to either support or push away the content creators. So if you're not buying what they're selling, then you stop giving views, stop posting comments, and then they go away.
Did you see this recent sort of bit of backwards and forwards that YouTube are now favoring certain channels to promote?
Yeah, it's a weird algorithm, and it has a lot to do with monetization, and there's certain channels that'll get favorable views, but again, it's a lot of that is based on previous views that they received. So they're just kind of perpetuating the popularity of people that are popular, rather than like they're not taking chances on new channels.
No,
it's all, you know, well, this channel is popular, therefore this is the channel we're going to promote, which seems backwards. Like, why are you promoting the stuff that's already popular? Shouldn't you be promoting the stuff that's lesser known? But, you know, I guess that doesn't make YouTube money.
YouTube's all messed up right now. I actually tweeted out to them yesterday, and they never respond. They're no fucking help. But I was looking at a video that we upload. We just started putting our show episodes back on YouTube, and I was looking at them, and I looked later, and we've actually lost views. The number of the views.
What?
Yeah, and I asked them, how does that happen? It wasn't a like. We didn't lose a like. Nobody unliked something. But the view numbers went back 3 or 4 views. I just thought that was incredible.
That's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense by how their system works. It's a view. As I told them, do you guys know some time travelers that went and unwatched our videos or what?
Eppo. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Eppo.
He's still pissed at us. Mike even joined his team, and he's still pissed.
He's pissed at you, Mateo. Don't rope me into this. I'm fine.
I read a great conspiracy theory. Was it yesterday? Maybe the day before. And this one made me smile. That we say that, if time travel is possible, why don't we see time travelers coming back in time, like every day, to put the wrong things right? And the explanation was that maybe this version of history is the one that is acceptable to time travelers.
I saw that article today as well.
Yeah. They've already fixed the really bad stuff, and this one is just the least worst.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? As bad as Trump seems, believe me, it could have been way worse. And we're like, oh shit, how is that possible? Trust us, it's possible.
Do you think that Trump's going to survive to the end of his term?
Do you mean literally survive, as in murdered, or do I think he's going to last?
As in politically? Do you think he'll
No, I don't. But then again, the dude seems bulletproof. Like all the scandals that have come in, that, like, I mean, we impeached Bill Clinton for far less than what's happening with Trump. It's so bizarre.
Do you think that it's just because he's almost normalizing this behavior?
I think that has a lot to do with it, but I also think that the people that would be the ones doing the impeaching have become not as interested in that sort of thing. And for instance, Obama was doing things that were, I mean, look back at Richard Nixon. What were we investigating him for? For recording a person against their will and using it for political gain. And Obama was doing that to an entire nation of people with the NDAA 2012, I believe.
Yeah.
And nothing even came. No one even opposed that. You know, like I just think that the deplorable behavior by politicians is becoming more acceptable, and we're not holding them accountable for doing things that are fucked up anymore. Like, we're like, oh, well, they're politicians. They're supposed to be doing things that are fucked up.
Did you see that? I think, is it Paul Rand, the leader of the House? He's going to step down in November. Paul Ryan. What do you think's going on there? Because he seems young to be.
Yeah, he is young, and it was kind of weird when he became the speaker, because he initially didn't want it,
right?
And then something happened, and he took it, and now he's saying he doesn't want it again. I don't know. I mean, he's worthless anyway. Fuck that guy.
Do you think? I mean, the way I read it was
that it's not Mitch McConnell that takes his place. Oh god.
Right. Do you remember Star Trek Deep Space Nine and the shape changers? Officer Odo.
Yeah.
Officer Odo looks like Mitch McConnell. The guy, he's this sort of sweaty, waxy alien kind of looking thing. You know, it's got 2 hands and 2 legs, but it ain't human. There is something. You know, if that guy was to come out as a lizard person, not surprised at all. He's clearly been forced into his human suit, and it's a little bit too tight on him. Seriously, check that out. Check it out. Officer Odo and Mitch McConnell. It's Mitch
McConnell's a creepy dude, man.
Well, what in particular is he doing anything in particular? Because we only see bits and pieces of Mitch McConnell. He's not as big as Paul Rand.
Right. He's just a massive scumbag who is he seems to have a lot of power in the Republican Party, and he's one of Trump's yes men.
Oh right, okay. Well, what do you think it would take to bring Trump down?
At this point, I don't know. Like, I keep feeling like it's just around the corner, but I've been feeling like that for the past year, so I really don't know.
Yeah, he seems bulletproof, like you said, Mike. I mean, he's pardoned himself from things, and every time I go to Twitter, there's an article written by somebody, even by some other people who are in certain offices, who are saying like he is going to jail. He's gonna get pinned, and it just doesn't happen.
Well, and he didn't even go to Barbara Bush's funeral. He sent his wife. Like, imagine if Obama didn't go to a first lady's funeral.
Yeah.
What type of shit he would have gotten. But nobody gives a shit that Trump didn't do it. It's so fucking weird.
Do you think that Melania is a prisoner?
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
She looks like a prisoner.
I shouldn't laugh, but it does. It really seems that way.
There's a picture I saw that it was like the early protest when he was elected, to where they said, you know, Melania, if you're a prisoner, blink once. And she can't because of all her plastic surgery.
There was one that I saw, and it may have been the inauguration day, and it was just this short piece of video that he's giving this speech, and she's behind him, and she's just sitting there with that stony face, and he turns around, and she lights up with a big smile, and then when he turns back, she just goes straight back to stony face again.
Oh yeah, I've seen footage of her rolling her eyes while he talks.
And then all the time she slapped his hand away when he went to hold her hand.
Yeah, she has made a deal with the devil there.
Yeah,
and isn't she paying for it now? Oh my goodness.
It kind of the stuff he's done. I mean, I don't want to bash anybody who supports Trump or anything like that. We don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but it just seems like with what he's done is so bizarre, and the things he says is so bizarre that it almost seems like his whole presidential campaign, being the president, becoming the president, has been like something to distract us. And I just wonder what from.
Did you read Comey's book?
No.
I would recommend reading Comey's book. Don't take everything at face value. You know, be prepared to dig into things a little bit. But I read Comey's book this week, and it does give the impression that the whole Trump thing was kind of like a bad joke that got really out of hand. And don't get me wrong, I am not in any way a Trump supporter. But equally, I am not a Hillary supporter either. And when you look at the two choices that America was given, I think, you know, they went with the guy who said that he was going to change it. And don't get me wrong, he has changed nothing. But they went with the guy who said that he was going to change it. I mean, Hillary was just fundamentally unelectable because of her past and, you know, Benghazi and all the corporate sponsorship and Monsanto and everything like that. And she was a bad choice. You know, I would have much preferred to have seen Bernie Sanders, you know, leading the ticket, but history is what it was. I understand why people didn't vote for Hillary, but you now look at what Trump is doing, and it's just, I wonder if he's just going, I'm going to see how far I can go with this. And just, it's like, wow, I got away with that. I got away with that. And I got away with that. And yeah, it's going to get interesting. I think it's interesting already. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I think it's the perfect president for the type of society that we live in now. I mean, just they literally put a reality show star in the Oval Office. I mean, this guy is in the WWE Hall of Fame. For, you know,
is he really?
Yeah, it's just
he's a Hall of Famer, is he?
Yeah, for not being a wrestler either. It's just it's insane to me. I mean, his attitude surprisingly matched up with a lot of people's attitude. I'm starting to see people not getting mad at the shit he does, and people just going, "Shit, that guy's crazy," and just laughing it off. It's perfect just to keep us.
Yeah, like he's the crazy uncle or something.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the things that he's doing has also like normalized hatred in a way. Like,
yeah, it has.
The way like, remember that Nazi march with all the guys carrying the tiki torches?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And David Duke from the Ku Klux Klan being like, who even talks about the Ku Klux Klan anymore? But leading up to the election, his name was mentioned quite a bit because the Klan was supporting Trump. So they got a lot of publicity as a result of Trump. And he would, that's the thing with him. He won't denounce them. He doesn't say he doesn't want their support. He said of the Nazi protests that there's a lot of good people on both sides. Like, when has Nazis ever been described as being good? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's the easiest group to say you suck. And you're saying, there's good people on both sides. What?
Do you think that there's anybody in the White House who is controlling Trump, or do you think he's fundamentally uncontrollable?
I think he's uncontrollable, and I think that he's worked very hard to make it to where the president can't be controlled anymore. He's. I
don't think that's true.
Well, he basically does what he wants. He's gone against. I mean, don't we have to get permission?
But I think that's part of the illusion. I think what happened was they knew that Bernie was not going to be controllable. Bernie would have had to have been someone that they would have had to have assassinated. And that's why the DNC completely threw him under the bus and backed Hillary. That was no secret from the beginning.
They just let him talk and listen to more and more what he had to say, and they're like, "Nah, it's not going to work."
He was, if you think about it, he was relatively unknown before the election started, and he almost beat Hillary Clinton, who's a fucking political juggernaut. And he almost beat her. If they hadn't stacked the primaries in the way they did, he very well would have won. But they stacked it in ways fuck. Here go my glasses. They stacked it in a way that they knew certain states were going to go for Hillary. So they put these states in the front so that Hillary had all this momentum. And then that affects voting because they're like, oh, look at all the momentum she has. So let's continue to support her. And she became the candidate. And they knew Bernie really wanted to change things. And Trump went in with his thing saying that he was going to change things, like, the whole drain the swamp thing, and we need someone who's not a career politician and someone that's going to work for the people, and yada yada yada. And I think because Trump is the cowardly, corrupt piece of shit that he is, that once he got in there, he was told, look, this is how it's going to be, and he was like, okay. And I think this whole thing was created where it's like because it's not like you can have Trump be this big, brash, loudmouth that he's been, and then all of a sudden he's like a dog on a leash. So I think they're encouraging him to continue to act crazy and be all, Trumpian. But behind all this bluster, the policies and the things that he's doing, I think is being controlled.
Do you think that he is intentionally driving a wedge between the security service, like the FBI and the CIA, with sort of the way that he's handled the staff there?
That whole thing, Kennedy wanted to break up the CIA, and I don't think that it's necessarily. I think he's doing that to cover himself, kind of like distraction. Dropping bombs over here to avoid the explosions over there. Yeah. Sort of thing. Because like you said, you just read the Comey book recently. So, all of these things that are being investigated by the FBI, any form of distraction is going to benefit him in that regard.
Yeah.
So I think even though the Syria thing has been in the works since the Obama administration, I think that his reaction has a lot to do with distracting the public.
It's interesting that you say that because I think it was earlier in the year I read Steve Bannon's book, and even though I'm not a supporter of Steve Bannon, he was saying things very much for that reason, that Trump uses a lot of distraction techniques. from hyperbole, that he's the greatest businessman ever, etc., etc. And this is great and that's great. And it's all just fantastic. And it's all just distraction all the time. And that's kind of what his MO is.
Yeah, that's what he's been all about from the beginning. He's all talk, little substance. I mean, you even listen to what he's saying, and half the time it's not even a coherent thought, let alone a planned out response to something. It's just all off the top of his head. He likes to talk about his intelligence and how smart he is and how he's the best. But anyone who knows anyone who's actually smart isn't out there telling people how smart they are, because they don't need to, because their actions and words show people that they're intelligent, thinking humans, unlike his language and the things that he does is proof that he's very impetuous and he's got a short temper and he's basically a petulant child.
Basically, yeah. I mean, there's some of this stuff that I've, like you were saying about forming a coherent sentence. He wanders so much, all within sort of a single line of what he's saying, and it does make it look like he's got early onset dementia sometimes.
So, and I mean, he's no spring chicken, so that is a possibility.
What's he now? 72, 73, something like that.
Yeah, I think 7. Well, no, he's probably 73 now.
Yeah, and what's the average life expectancy for a man in the US?
75,
70, 71, 75.
Is it 75? I thought it was up to 80 now.
No way.
Shows what I know.
Do you think that he'll run for a second term?
Yeah, I think he'll try. I don't think he's going to be successful unless things really start to heat up in Syria, because nobody likes to change presidents during a war for some reason.
Yeah. Mind you, they did it with the first George Bush. He was only a one-term president.
That is true.
So I don't know. Maybe if the Democrats could field a young enough.
Depends how. Well, there's rumors that Bernie might take another stab at it.
I think he's done.
I think he is too, but he's pulling the shit that Hillary was pulling. Like, I don't, never say never.
I would really like to see Bernie do it, but I think I just see that America is lurching further and further to the right, and the economy still isn't sorted out. And unfortunately, Bernie hasn't got the business acumen credentials that are going to really support him during a difficult economic climate. And I think that is why people won't vote for him.
I think if he's going up against Trump, that I think whoever's going up against Trump is going to be a winner. Unless Trump changes something in the next 2 years, I don't see him getting a second term.
No. But I mean,
he's got the lowest. Well, not now. I guess he's up to like 50% approval rating now, but he had the lowest approval rating of any president in their first year in history.
Wow.
Yeah, he had it was abysmal, like 32% or something approval rating.
That's quite a slide from where he was.
Yeah. But you got to think, with all the polls that took place before the election, it was polling Republicans.
Yes.
And the Republicans, I mean, they got rid of their good choices fairly early on. In the end, their only good choice was John Kasich, and he got completely annihilated because there were 16 candidates to start with.
Yeah.
So you had people that would win one state and then drop out. It didn't make sense to have that many candidates. And that's a big reason why Trump won, because he was the loudest, he was the most vocal, and he had the name and face recognition. And people hear Trump and instantly they think successful businessman. They don't think about all the times he's gone bankrupt. And a lot of Republicans want someone who is going to who's going to have a good mind for business and be able to increase the value of the dollar and help the economy. And to them, that was Trump, even though he had all the bankruptcies.
Yeah.
It's just, I think what the main thing, and this goes back to the journalism thing that you're talking about, the media isn't doing their job. They're not getting all of the information to the people. So if the people are going to be lazy and they're just going to watch Fox News all day, they're not going to get the information about the candidates that they need. They're going to get the sound bites. They're going to get what the candidates are saying, but they're not going to be digging into the candidates' backgrounds. And if they don't, half the time they don't even fact check. Like during the debates, there were so many times Donald Trump just made shit up. Same with Hillary, just making shit up, and nobody called them out on it.
Well, when they did, he just wouldn't answer them or told them to fucking get out of the press conference.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so for instance, look at the Democratic primaries. You had it came down to Hillary and Bernie, and there were times when Hillary would make what seemed like a strong point against Bernie, but then the following day, the fact checkers were like, no, what she said is completely false. This is the reality of the situation. But none of the media outlets even reported that, let alone called her out on it. You know, like if the next day they said, well, she said this, and they had their coverage and they were saying, you know, actually saying the things that she was saying and then showing the truth behind it so that people know that not only was she lying, but she's making shit up. You know, she's not, it's not just deception. She's actively lying to get her way and to make Bernie look like a fool. But what Bernie's point was accurate. Her rebuttal was not, but she got the credit for having the stronger statement, and therefore she won.
Yeah, but I mean, I never found Hillary to be electable. You know, I obviously don't have the right to vote in the US, but if I had the right to vote, I would generally had no idea who I would have voted for between Hillary and Trump.
That's why I had to go third party. I couldn't support either one.
Yeah.
I just couldn't with, you know, and I felt like it was important to, because I didn't like either candidate, rather than not vote at all, I felt that it was important to at least support a third party candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
A lot of people felt that way, but not many people did it. And you know, this election would have been the one to do it, because true Republicans can't stand Donald Trump. He's completely destroying the Republican Party and everything that classic Republicans stand for. He's even perverting the neocon stance at this point. So
that's quite an achievement.
Yeah, right. So a lot of the Republicans don't like him. Democrats fucking loathe him, but then there were a lot of people that voted for him just because they didn't want Hillary. So you had a lot of independents and a lot of Democrats that jumped ship and voted for him because Hillary was such a repugnant candidate. And if all these people, instead of just saying fuck it and voting Trump, voted for, you know, banded together and voted for a third party candidate, maybe we would have had a change next election. You know, maybe third party candidates would have been given a bigger platform. Maybe they would have been allowed to debate with the two main candidates. It's, you know, it's not a democracy. It's hardly even a republic when you're completely ignoring the choices that are put there. Especially, like, I can understand not wanting to give Vermin Supreme the same platform as your main candidates, but there were two other legitimate candidates that were running. There was Jill Stein and there was Gary Johnson. And Jill Stein was like 90% comparable to Bernie Sanders. So if she had more support behind her, she could have gotten all those people that were disillusioned with Hillary and were voting Trump in protest. She could have gotten the independent voters. But she wasn't given the chance. I don't even think she got 1% of the vote.
Really? That low?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's because she's a crazy liberal, so she didn't get any. They didn't give her any support. They just said she's a fringe candidate. She wants all this crazy stuff like regulations put on corporations that pollute the earth, and she wants Medicare for all, and she wants free college, and it was just painted by the media as being so unattainable. Like, why would you put your vote behind this candidate when nothing that she wants to do is even possible? When I mean, realistically, not all of that she wanted to do would have been possible, but it was opening up the conversation, which is the important part.
Yeah. Who do we see on the Democrat side is going to come through for the election in 2020?
I feel like Cory Booker is being groomed.
Yeah,
he's been getting a lot of media attention now. He has been speaking out against all the hate that Trump has been kind of stirring up. He's been a huge advocate for minorities in the country. He's been working to get cannabis decriminalized, and he's been making a lot of waves. I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if he's not at least in the primaries. But if Bernie's thrown in the towel, I'm gonna say Cory Booker is gonna be the next candidate.
Matteo, what do you think?
Oprah saying that she might run, and people standing behind her. I mean, The Rock.
Let's not forget about The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock.
The Rock.
I mean, that's what got us in this problem in the first place, is we picked a fucking TV personality to be a politician.
But we didn't. But look at Jesse Ventura. He was, by all accounts, a great governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger too.
He was a professional wrestler. He was an actor. You know, I would like to say that we have President The Rock.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, it would, just to say that. It's President The Rock.
Oh.
He's going to take all our soda machines away, dude.
Every State of the Union address would be like a promo. He ends it with if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Like,
Yeah.
How awesome would that be?
Takes off his sunglasses, raises his one eyebrow, and
cocks the eyebrow. Yeah, I'm into it.
I'd vote for that.
Why not at this point, right? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if we're voting based on theatrics, why the fuck not? You don't get more electrifying than The Rock.
That would be awesome.
He could be the people's president.
I just don't know what to expect when I see our president on TV and having the
Talking
crowd
in first person.
Well, yeah, and the crowd cheering after he says something like, "That guy's a loser," and people just start going nuts. I mean, it's sad, but it's relatability, and I'm sad that for all that many people that they're on that level. As crazy as he acts and the shit that comes out of his mouth, there's so many people that love that shit and cheer for that shit. So who knows? Oprah can run and she could fucking win. Who knows? I mean, Trump didn't he have like the not amount of right of votes to win anyway? The electoral college, So who? It doesn't matter.
Hillary was supposed to really have won, but
yeah,
here we are.
Well, she won the popular vote, didn't she? It was just the electoral college.
The electoral, which just shows another flaw in the system.
Yeah, how does that happen? How does that actually go through?
Because because popular vote doesn't matter. You're voting for representatives in the electoral college. So even if you win, or even if you win popular votes, if the popular votes were not in the right states, then the electoral college can still come out in favor of the other candidate.
It's a messed up system.
Yeah, it's just bizarre, man.
God bless America.
Yeah, who knows? The Rock, Oprah, Stone Cold. Why not?
Oh, Stone Cold.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think Stone Cold is too redneck. I wouldn't want Stone Cold.
I'd like to see an election with Stone Cold in the Republican camp and Dwayne in the Democrat camp.
Oh my God. It'd be like 1997 feuding over the fucking Intercontinental title all over again. Except they're feuding over the presidency. Oh my God, I want this so bad. I want this more than I've wanted anything in my entire life.
That would be awesome.
And then the loser gets put through a table at the end of the election.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. That would be amazing.
One thing I've noticed about Trump is we're not seeing the physical wear and tear that we usually see presidents
Well,
go
here he
through.
looked like a crusty old potato. We want to start growing mold.
Moss just starts appearing on his body.
He just starts growing these weird fuzzy green patches. It's like, oh, well, it's taking its toll now.
He has them. They're just all under his spray tan.
Yeah.
Like every weekend, he goes to his golf course, doesn't he? So he
on the taxpayer dime.
Yeah, he gets plenty of R&R.
Yeah, but he was the first to criticize Obama about his vacations.
Was it you, Mike, telling me about how they wanted him to like at least show up to work by 11 o'clock? Like he just sits there and watches TV all day and he eats something like 6 Big Macs a week or something weird.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a weird dude, man. He's just weird in general.
It makes me wish that like lizard worshipping satanic cults really ran everything instead of just some TV guy.
They do, and he's a lizard.
You reckon?
That's why it looks so bunchy and weird.
I don't think the lizard people would be as reckless as Trump is.
You're probably right. They're like, we're more subtle than that.
Yeah, they would be twiddling their thumbs and whistling the entire time. Just squeak by these 4 years. We'll set our shit in place and we'll get the fuck out of here.
Trump has Darrow written all over him.
Yeah, could be. Anyway, guys, I've probably got to get out now because it's nearly 8 o'clock here in the UK, and I've got guys coming up onto the farm to do the work today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for getting up so early.
No, thank you, guys. Always good to chat.
Yeah. Maybe next time we'll get to the
subject.
We'll get to the topic.
No, it's good to talk.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Martin, for coming on. And again, great to talk to you. Always is.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Sure thing, man. Have a good night.
All right. Speak to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.